Everybody excited about the season, of course, of 2025, especially the Clemson side of things, because big things are expected and they got a big opener in Death Valley against LSU, of course. But we're going to break down some recruiting and what's going on right now. We got Jason Priester here, of course, from Clemson Insider, and check out all the work that Jason does at Clemson Insider, but also the position breakdowns that we posted here on the Clemson channel. So 21 hard commits for 2026, 13th ranked class at this point. But there's a guy that committed way back in Shavar Young, the cornerback out of Knoxville, who may be thinking elsewhere.
Yeah, there was a one of the Rivals national guys did a story last week about all these other teams pursuing Shavar Young and 3-star corner out of Tennessee. Been committed to Clemson for about a year now. This thing kind of stretches back to earlier this year. I don't know that Young's ever, truly shut it down. He's always, at least been open to listening to other schools. If you go back to the contact period earlier this year in January, there were a bunch of coaches that rolled through his high school and visited him, and he would posting pictures of all those different coaches coming through, visiting him, sharing them on social media. So he's been kind of public about it. So he's been one guy that's kind of that's been worth keeping an eye on ever since then. SMU, Oregon, Notre Dame are three of the schools that got mentioned in that report. And I remember SMU and Dan Lanning coming there to visit him back in January. I remember talking to him just after the contact period ended, and he said, that's nothing. I'm all locked in. But, when you see players openly or committed players openly, kind of sharing those things, man, I think it's worth keeping an eye on. And if there was one guy that's gonna end up, bolting out of this class here over the next few weeks, my bet would probably be on him. I know that will probably make a lot of Clemson fans start getting a little hinky and getting flashbacks to last year. They had 7 decommitments, six of them coming, after July. I haven't seen or heard any inclination of that you're on the verge of anything like that happening. But you're also not going to be, immune to some decommitments here and there. It's just the world we live in with this new NIL revenue sharing model that's going on. There's been well over 200 decommitments in the 2026 class. You're not going to always stay immune to those things. And sometimes you're just going to lose a guy to a school because the school comes in and makes a better offer. And it's going to happen to everybody at some point. But I don't think we're on the verge of seeing some mass exodus like we saw a year ago. I think Clemson's much better position now with that, with the introduction of the rev share that began on July the 1st. And, but that doesn't mean they won't have any decommitments. We just have to see how it plays out. But sitting here today, if there's going to be one, my money would be on him.
Yeah, Shavar Young, a 5'11", 180 corner, top 500 player in the nation. But with those Notre Dame and Oregon offers, and of course Clemson commit, I got to think that he's going to be ranked higher than that at some point. But regardless, his commitment somewhat in doubt. Jason Priester does his work at Clemson Insider. Jason, always appreciate you stopping by.
My pleasure, my friend. Appreciate it.